Hello my lovelies, today we're going to be doing a cheese and tomato pasta sauce, which, yet again, simple, easy, delicious. It's one that's been going around the internet at the moment. It's from TikTok, which isn't my usual haul, I must be honest with you, but they do have some kind of cool ideas for certain recipes. This one I fell in love with. Now this is normally done with feta cheese, but I know that feta cheese is a bit of something that people are a bit funny with. I've seen a lot of the recipes done with feta cheese as a cow's feta, and that doesn't tend to work so well because it becomes quite lumpy and chunky. It doesn't really dissolve properly. The actual recipe calls for sheep's feta, which is the original feta cheese, and that's a lot creamier. I then saw a chef use Boursin, and I thought that sounds perfect. It's beautiful cream cheese. I mean, it doesn't have to be brand label. It could be any generic shop herby garlic cream cheese, or just normal cream cheese with, Philadelphia or anything like that with a few herbs in. I mean, this just comes ready done, although I do add more garlic because it's just so delicious. So, just to let you know, that's what I'm going to be doing. So, first thing I've got, and also I've changed the recipe around a bit. So, this is the whole part of Berkshire Housewife, is that you become inventive. The whole part of my recipes is that I give you the base of a recipe, and then you go away and look what's in your cupboard, what's in your fridges, and use what you've got. Save you having to go out and buy specific ingredients. So I saw the recipe and I thought to myself, I would like the sauce to be a lot more tomatoier, and where they don't blend it, I do. So it makes a really gorgeous sauce. So you get a little bit of taste of everything in every single bite. The pasta also I'm going to be using later is, I think it's pronounced Conchiglie. So I think I shall double check that later. Anyway, I shall write the pasta that I use in the description under the ingredients, so you know. And it's the ones that are little cups. So you get a little scoop of sauce in there. It's really yummy. So let me just get started. So I've got here all the tomatoes. There's a lot of tomatoes in mine. I would say that this recipe that I make will feed 4 very hungry adults with seconds. I think it would feed a family of 6, no problem. You could probably stretch it to 8 if you had some garlic bread and salad. Definitely. So if you don't want to make as much as I do, just halve everything, and it will, still make a decent amount. But I normally do a lot of batch cooking, so this is kind of like a batch thing because it is absolutely lush as a cold pasta salad the next day. So this is really handy to make for dinner, and then the next day, if you've got to go to work, just shove it in a Tupperware container, and you've got a ready-made, really delicious lunch ready for you. So, let's get started. Big square casserole dish, and I've just washed the tomatoes, given them a rinse. Actually, Simon's washed them for me. Just bung them in, and that's it. Get the Boursin. I mean, this is so simple. It's ridiculous. It almost makes itself. It's crazy. The longest part of it is actually just letting them roast, and it's only roasted for 30 minutes. So you just get the cheese and plop it in the middle. Plop it anywhere, actually. It doesn't really matter. If you've got a fan oven, it gets to everything. Try and get as much as you can out of it. In the old days, to show my age now, they used to have Boursin in sort of foil, and you could just unravel it and plop it in the middle. But now they've tried to be really helpful with a pot. It's not so easy to get out. It's absolutely fine if you're going to be dipping your breadsticks in it, or your French bread or whatever. But to get the whole lot out in one go. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's out. It's there. It's done. Oh, that stuff's so yummy. So that's that bit. And now, half a bulb of garlic. Again, you don't really have to do this if you don't want to, because there's already garlic in the Boursin. It's garlic cheese. But I like to put it in because I just love garlic. I can't get enough of the stuff. It's so good for you as well. And roasted, it just goes absolutely delicious. Garlic, when it's raw, it's actually very peppery. It's very, very heated. It's quite strange. But when it's been roasted, it goes so sweet. So I'm going to pop it on top of the tomatoes because it is thicker than the tomatoes. It's bigger than the tomatoes. It's also thicker than the tomatoes. See, some of the tomatoes are quite huge, aren't they? But I want it to really, really roast above everything else. So let's see, 1, 2... Just do this one. It's the third one. How many have we got left? Oh, crumbs. It's one of those things, it's like a Russian doll. You've done a few, you think, oh, I've done them all. And then you find out there's actually, it separates into like 47 other ones. So let's just, well, I'm going to shove them all in anyway, might as well. Because it does call for an entire bulb of garlic. And I just thought, a little bit crazy. But if you want, do you know what, if you like garlic and you want to shove it all in, you shove it all in. It's no big deal. The first proper meal my husband ever made for me from a recipe called for a clove of garlic. And I said to him, do you understand what a clove of garlic is? He says, yeah, of course. God, I'm not stupid. I was like, oh, sorry, didn't want to insult you. Sorry about that. And the main course called for a clove of garlic, and there was a starter he was going to do. We'd call for a clove of garlic, and we bought a bulb. And when he made it, he put the main course ready to put in the oven, then decided to start the starter. And he came in a panic and said he'd run out of garlic, which I couldn't understand. And it turns out, no, he did not know about garlic, and he'd used an entire bulb of garlic in the chicken dish. And it was lush. It was absolutely gorgeous. So, I mean, if you want to use a whole bulb, you can. They're not that expensive in the shops. I personally think because I'm already using the Boursin and it's already got the flavour in, I only really need half. That's just my personal opinion. Again, it's totally flexible. If you use a whole one, it'll be fine. It really is up to you. So this needs plenty of salt. When I did it, I thought to myself, oh, the cheese is going to be salty enough. I just put a little sprinkle, which just was nowhere near enough. I had to put in quite a bit at the end. And I think it's the tomatoes. That's the other thing as well. They say if you can use the sweetest tomatoes, and there's it's like a lot, looks like a snowstorm at the moment, but honestly, it really will need it. They say, oh, choose the sweetest tomatoes you can, which is fine, but these are actually the cheapest tomatoes you can get from Tesco, and I think they're something like 43p for a pack of 250 grams, and there are 4 packs in here. It works. It isn't as sweet as if you get like the finest ones, which are super sweet, but then you're paying at least 5 times the price. And if you want to do that, then of course that's your prerogative. That's absolutely your choice. For me, I'm trying to keep the cost down for the recipes that I do. So by using these ones, it can be slightly acidic at the end, which is, it's not massively acidic. It's not like you eat it and it's like, it's absolutely fine. But this is why on my recipe, I call for a couple of tablespoons of honey at the end. It is something you're going to add to taste. If you taste the sauce at the end before you put the honey in and it tastes gorgeous, leave it, don't touch it. If you think it needs a little bit, add the honey little bit by little bit because it'll change really quickly. I found the last time I made this with these tomatoes, and I bought them all at the same time, I needed 2 tablespoons. You might even need more. As I said, it is a personal choice. So keep tasting it until you get just the right amount of sweetness to salt to cheesy ratio and everything, and it should be fine. A little bit of pepper, just to add a little kick, although you're going to get that from the garlic and the Boursin anyway, the cream cheese. Now, you will see I've got basil here. That is for the end. Some people in the TikTok recipe have put it in before and roasted it. Again, absolutely fine, no problems, absolutely gorgeous. But I personally prefer to chop it up at the end because I love the fresh flavour of basil. It really gives a good twist to the whole pasta dish because I actually do this in the blender when it comes out the oven after it's been roasted. It is obviously like a cream sauce, all the same sort of similar texture. It's not completely smooth. There are still little bits of tomato and stuff in there, but it is quite smooth. And I find chopping up the basil at the end and sprinkling it over, as well as being an absolutely gorgeous contrast in colours, you get that wonderful fresh punch of basil flavour, which you just don't get when it's roasted with the tomatoes. You could do both. You could put basil in and put basil in on the top at the end. It's up to you. I'm just going to leave it until the end and have as much fresh as possible because it just really complements the gorgeous tomato flavour. So that's about it, apart from olive oil. So again, I've got the amounts on the description, but as I sort of do this regularly, I kind of just slop in what I would normally use. And what I do as you get more and more accustomed to these things, you'll be able to guess it as well. And that's it. So then I just pop that in the oven for half an hour. And while this is cooking, I will cook up the pasta so it's ready at the same time that this is. And then I'll drain the pasta, leave it in the pan. If at that point you want to toss in some oil just to keep the pasta separate, because it can clump together as it cools down, that's perfectly fine. That's a really good idea, actually. A little bit of olive oil, just while it's still hot, just a small bit, like a dessert spoon, and just turn it around after you've drained it, obviously. Some of the recipes as well say save some of the pasta water to put in the sauce. You don't need it. You just don't need it, because I've put extra tomatoes in this recipe. It comes out perfectly fine, and there's no pasta sauce needed. It's not a thick sauce at all. So anyway, I'm going to pop this in the oven, and I will see you back here in half an hour. Okay then, see you in a mo. Hello my darlings, and welcome back. So we've now got these gorgeous roasted tomatoes and garlic out of the oven. I'm going to attempt to hold that up a bit to the screen so you can see how gorgeous they look. Oh, it's quite heavy. All the Boursin's melted. All the cream cheese has gone all lovely and creamy. And the garlic has also roasted, so it's going to be gorgeously sweet and not strong and peppery like it was before, so you're just going to get that flavour. Basil, washed, and Parmesan, grated. Pasta done, which is over there, which I'll show you in a minute. But for now, there's a bit of a tricky bit because it's a bit messy, and I am not the neatest of people. So all I'm going to be doing, because normally what they do on the TikTok thing is just mash this up and then that's it. As you can see, there's a lot of juice. There's absolutely stacks. That's from the extra tomatoes that I put in. I wanted the sauce to be really tomatoey and just gorgeous. And there's so much, whoopsie daisy, moisture. You don't need any of the pasta water, which they do in the original TikTok video. It's quite thick, the one they do. So just scoop all of this up as best you can. As I said, it is super duper hot. So I'm trying to do this without burning myself too much. Just about managing with this very handy ladle. And I'm going to have to just pour the rest of this moisture. Let me just put that there. Didn't see that, it was lovely. Into the blender. Now be careful when you do blend this. Ooh. There we go. Now, I know that looks grossy, but it's been cooked. And I'm going to be putting the pasta in that dish afterwards. Save on the washing up. It's rustic, that's fine. That's what home cooking's all about, and this is what it's all about here. So, I'm going to blitz this up first, then taste, and see how the salt, sweetness, etc. ratio is. So bear with me, this is going to be noisy. I shall turn the volume down if it's not too long, or click back to it if it is. I'm also, just a little bit, going to take this little noddle out a bit, because I find sometimes the pressure builds up with the heat in there. So just having this loosely on the top but still held on means that it's got a little chance to push that air out so it doesn't go completely bananas. I think that's absolutely fine. I do need a spoon to taste. I think Simon's been extra efficient and taken my spoon away. And we're back with a spoon. Thank you, Simon. So I'm just going to take the lid off. Be careful, it is still really hot, as you can see from the steam escaping from there, if you can see that on camera. And I'm just going to have a little... Oh my God, that's so gorgeous. It really doesn't need much of this. Beautifully tomatoey, gorgeously creamy, but not too over creamy. Every time I do this, it makes a funny noise. Anyway, that's physics and air for you. Right, so I've just put that in. I think it needs a little bit more salt. Just a personal preference, though. Again, it's totally up to you. The rock salt I use in this isn't very salty, you see. The table salt will be a heck of a lot saltier. So if you are using table salt, be wary of that. That, you know, you see me adding absolutely stacks, but the salt in that thing, it just doesn't seem as salty as almost just rock salt. So we have a bit of a blitz. And that should be it. Taste it again. As I said, do it bit by bit. Don't, wish I could try and put that back in there. Don't put all the sugar in at once and make it too sweet. I think it's a little bit more. I said this is how it's supposed to go, bit by bit. And then, you know, you've got to that, just that point where you can still taste that tomato sharpness, but you've got just that little round sweetness. It just takes the edge off. Fine. I think that's probably going to be it. Bang on, absolutely bang on. Lush. So, what we're going to do with this now is take this out, bring this casserole dish back. Oh gosh, it's falling apart. Right, bring this casserole dish back. Pop in the pasta. Just going to chuck it all in. Oh, chuck it all over the table apparently. Put those bits in there. Right, and just get that moving around. Superb. I'm going to go put the sauce in here now. I had to get another spoon. And you just pour it in like that. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And so simple. Such simple ingredients. I think that's what makes it so lovely is that there are just so few ingredients in here. It's just such a pure flavour pasta dish. Absolutely tons of the sauce in here, so it's really lovely with a bit of garlic bread to mop that up. And like I said, it's absolutely fabulous as a pasta salad the next day. Give it a good old stir so all of those nice little pasta cups get all that sauce. It's lovely when you get one of them with, as I said, with an explosion of that sauce in. It's just absolutely delicious. Right, so all that is left for me to do is to cut up, I should pop there for a second, cut up my basil. Now I've got quite a bit in here. It is up to you. I mean, I've just said a couple of sprigs on the recipe, but I love the stuff. It's so delicious. And I cut it up very roughly. Let me move that out of the way so you can see. Literally just chunks like that. Really big mouthful, sprinkle on the top. If you want to mix them in, you can, but they will wilt once they're in the pasta once you mix them in. Which is, again, nothing wrong with that. Still taste the flavour. I'd put them in the stalks as well because they still have all that gorgeousness. Oh, if you've ever been to Italy, which I have quite a few times, the smell just takes me right back. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on this planet that can make a pasta dish like the Italians. And everything they grow, I mean, I used to go to Ischia regularly, and everything they grow there is grown in the beautiful Mediterranean sun. So it is super sweet, super gorgeous, super fresh. And everything just smells so great. So it's just like literally picked that minute before they pop it on your dish in the restaurants and whatnot. So there we go. There's the beautiful basil on top. As I said, this is why I prefer it. Let me just move it back so you can see. So this is why I leave that to the end, because it just makes such a lovely contrast and it looks so pretty on the top. And then just get the Parmesan and sprinkle that over. There we go. And that is it. This is my version of the TikTok pasta recipe. Just as easy. I probably could do it in a quick few minutes on a TikTok if I was a bit younger and knew what I was doing. I have got a TikTok account. And I've only put the martinis on at the moment, but I might put a few more on. So yeah, so let me just show you. This is the pasta recipe. And that's what it looks like. Absolutely gorgeous. Smells amazing. So simple. So delicious. I just, you know, really easy to make. Perfect for lunch, dinner, snacks, friends, parties, anything you fancy. And it keeps kids happy because most kids seem to like pasta. And this is just a really gorgeous creamy sauce. And it's not too over creamy. That's why I put more tomatoes in. I felt previously that the other pasta sauce, although they use the feta, was just a bit too much cream, and I know some people find those things quite heavy and rich, so I wanted to freshen it up a bit more. This is why my recipe has more tomatoes in. Again, this is something you can make your own way. If you want less tomatoes, more tomatoes, add some red peppers, whatever you fancy, olives. Oh, that sounds nice actually. You make it your own and go for it, experiment. Let me know how it goes. Take photos if you make it, please, if you can. If you can't, I understand. Sometimes you just got to eat straight away and not wait for that camera. But again, you know, let me know if you've made it, how it works for you. Hashtag Berkshire Housewife or at Berkshire Housewife. And I really hope you enjoy it. It is absolutely gorgeous, tried and tested, as all my recipes are. So I look forward to seeing you for the next video. Thank you so much for watching this one and sharing the time with me. And I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.